Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Healthy Habits for the New Year Masterclass. My name is Wendy Griffith. I'm a certified health and wellness coach, and I specialize specifically in helping working mums to really create sustainable, healthy habits that are going to support them to thrive, not just survive busy mom life. But what I teach applies to everyone, whether or not you have kids or not. And I'm just so thrilled to be with you here in this incredible membership that Nicola has created with some amazing women. I know some of you, and so I know you're amazing. And I also just know that the women that Nicola attracts into her life are just, well, they're just amazing. They're the highest caliber, highest achievers, and also they look amazing. So I've had the privilege of having some of Nicola's incredible styling and work. And so, yeah, I am just thrilled to come on and chat to you, her incredible membership, about a subject that I'm really passionate about, which is habits, but specifically in the context of the new year. This is my jam. This is my favorite time of year because, well, firstly, when I start to see all this new year BS that comes out, like well, if you follow me on social media, you'll see that I really don't appreciate it because I just think, why put all that pressure on yourself? And something that I was listening to the other day, and it was really interesting. It was saying like, our new year is just one of many new years throughout the new year. Like I saw Chinese New Year is in a couple of weeks' time, and there's other celebrations in different times and New Year's. And that just made me think, well, there's always that opportunity to reset. So don't put all that pressure on yourself. And especially, for us here in the UK specifically, it's dark, it's middle of winter, it's not the nicest time of year. So if you are sort of, okay, I'm going to do all the new habits, like naturally, if you're someone who thrives more in the summertime, make that your new year reset point, that you reset yourself and you go again. So if New Year's not the time that you want to do this stuff, like I'm handing you a pair of scissors, cut yourself some slack. And just to really, think about like what is going to suit you, what is going to suit your lifestyle. And that's the biggest thing I do with my clients, is really to work out what's going to suit them in their lifestyle. It's the same as Nicola does with clothing and with styles and with color. Everyone's different. Everyone has a unique body shape, a unique type. So it's not just a one size fits all solution. So don't buy into this whole New Year's bollocks, is what I'm here to tell you. And, but at the same time, you don't need a new you in the new year, but you may just need 2 to 3 healthier habits at this point of the year to support you. Maybe you've come off the back of Christmas, all the Christmasing, and you're just maybe feeling a bit bloated, a bit, whatever it is. You might be feeling like, actually, I want to set myself a work goal or a health goal, or maybe a personal goal, like I'm going to declutter my home, whatever it is. As a health and life coach, it's not just all about health and losing weight and what people think typically when they think about health and New Year's and January and diets and all that kind of thing. It's actually about thinking, right, being really intentional about what is the lifestyle that I want to create for myself in 2023. I don't know about you, but gosh, since the pandemic, you keep thinking, right, okay, things are gonna get better. And like 2022, we were living in a perma crisis. Like this is actually a term that they've come up with because, once, we didn't expect a war. We didn't expect the economy crashing. We didn't expect, all the price hikes and the inflation and, the flu crisis that we've just had here in the UK, like, and is still ongoing. Like, it's just one thing after what? How many prime ministers did we have last year? I lost track. It's just one perma crisis after the other, and we're just getting completely bombarded. So one thing that I've been really intentional about is what I allow into my space, what I am allowing intentionally into my life. And so for me, my New Year's goal setting is much more about, right, this is actually the lifestyle that I want to create for myself. And what does that look like? So a little exercise that I love to do that you can actually do is you can grab yourself a piece of paper, blank piece of paper. And what I like to do is draw what I call a wheel of life. So take a blank piece of paper and you draw a circle, and then you can divide it into different sections. Now, the sections that I want you to divide it into is work, health, life, personal, family, and yeah. So if you just do those 5 for now, sorry, finances. I knew I was missing one. So you divide those into those 6 things. So let me just do a small little diagram here so you've sort of got the gist of what I'm doing here. Okay, so we've got like your little wheel of life here with the different sections. So we've got sleep, we've got finances, we've got career, we got family, we got work, what did I say? Sleep, finances, career, family, health, personal, and now I've completely gone blank what the last one was. It will come back to me. It will come back to me. So what I want you to do though is to start scoring yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being here on the edge of the circle and 1 being at the bottom. And let's say that 1 is not so great and 10 is absolutely amazing. So if right now your sleep is incredible, or I'd say my sleep is really good, so I'd actually probably score myself at about an 8 or 9, because the only thing that like stands in the way of good sleep is my daughter, who is going through I'm having a bad dream, and wakes me up at 3 or 4 in the morning. So you'd put a little marker here. So for me, it would be at 8 or 9. So it's nearly at the top. And what I want you to do is go around those different sections. So let's just look at this again. So family, health, like your personal life, so like hobbies and things that you do to fulfill you, sleep, finance, career. Oh, I have done all of them. It's just that I drew too many wedges. Ignore me. So then just pretend that doesn't exist. So now you're going to go around and score yourself. And then what I want you to do is I want you to join the dots. Okay, I'm just going to, for argument, I'm just putting random dots on. This is not my true reflection here. But what you're going to do is go around and draw the dots. Okay, so this is called the wheel of life. And what you're going to see is, if we had this perfectly balanced life, we would have a perfectly balanced wheel. But I think balance is utter BS. Like life is never in balance. Actually, if you think about the definition of balance, it's just not moving. So it's not going forward and it's not going back. So you're just staying stuck. That's a way that I've reframed it, because everyone's like, oh, this elusive work-life balance, this amazing thing that you've got to achieve. But actually, who wants to be in balance? Neither moving nor going backwards, just staying still. Well, I don't know about you, but that's not something I'm interested in. I want to, in some areas of my life, I'm happy to stay still for now because I'm advancing in other areas of my life. And that's okay. As women, we tend to put so much pressure on ourselves to do all the things all the time, boil the ocean. But here I'm wanting you to do is to actually see, right, where is my life not rounded? Where is it not balanced? It could be that actually you're pretty good at a number of things, but then there's one that seemingly, so say maybe your family life, or say maybe your finances or something is completely much lower than the others. Well, there we go. We can identify that is an area that we need to work on, because health is holistic. It's not just about the food we eat and the movement that we do and the exercise. It's holistic health, because when we feel in tune and, we do have things that we're doing that fulfill. I mean, if you think about it, I think sometimes we think as moms, it's like, or any woman, like, oh, we're going to suddenly be like, and have all this time to meditate and do all the things. But actually for me, when I'm busy and I'm doing my volunteer work and things that I really enjoy doing, even though it's busy, I'm busy doing it. Like, I love doing it. It doesn't stress me out. It energizes me. It brings me joy. But when I'm doing stuff like accounts, something for my business, which is why I outsource it, and I feel drained by that activity, well, that's not something that puts me in a state of joy. I'm like, oh, don't want to do that. So it's thinking about, okay, what are the areas that you need to work on? So that's like my first big top tip for you, is really give yourself that perspective on your life. And if you want to, you can even sort of journal down maybe some things that you felt didn't go really well in 2022, and maybe things that did go well, and then reflect on like, why didn't, rather than like, oh, beating yourself up, it didn't do this, it didn't do that. It's like, there might have been a very like major reason why you did it. Maybe there was illness or something happened in your family, or a job situation, or whatever it was. So it's about having that awareness of it, and then just catching your thoughts around that and being like, okay, that's cool. We can leave that on the page for last year and we can move forward and be really intentional about creating that holistic life where we feel fulfilled in those different wedges, those different areas. So it's not about necessarily being balanced, but it's about, are these areas of my life, do I feel fulfilled in them? And if not, okay, right, what are those habits? Because our habits are the thing that we do most of the time. So when people say to me, oh, how long does it take to make a habit? And I hear all these statistics, I'm like, a habit takes as long as it takes for it to become automatic to you. So it could take you 4 weeks, it could take you 3 days, it could take you a year to create a healthy habit that supports your life. But a habit takes as long as it takes for you to becoming automatic. So the habit, if you think about the habits are the thing that you do most of the time. If you say, for example, want to improve your health, rather than saying, right, this year I'm going to be healthy, your brain doesn't actually know what to do with that. It's too obscure, it's too big. But if you say to yourself, well, right, within that goal of health, what being healthy looks like to me, because it's different for everybody, what being healthy looks like to me is I'm going to move my body 3 times a week. Notice I say move, not exercise, because some people are like, aversion to exercise. I'm going to move my body 3 times a week. I'm going to make 3 cooked from scratch home cooked meals a week. I'm just, thinking of different things that you could do here. I'm going to set an alarm on my phone to go to bed at 10 p.m. every night. Those are 3 actionable habits that you can actually track. You can even create yourself a little tracker for the fridge where you can actually tick off when you do that action 3 times a week, or you can get an app if you're into tech, and you actually tick that habit off, because then your brain is like, oh, go you, high five, woohoo, you did it. And you start to gain. So action breeds the confidence. Action breeds the confidence for you to be like, oh, well, I've hit my goal this week, my three movement sessions. Well, here we go. I'm going to go for another cheeky walk or whatever it is. And that action starts to breed confidence. And then you start to, gain momentum in that wedge of your life, and that starts to create more fulfillment, and it starts to create more joy, and that starts to filter into other areas of your life. And then you think, okay, well, I've addressed this now. I've got these good habits that I'm executing most of the time, 20% of the time, you may not, but 80% of the time you're executing them. Right, I'm going to work on another wedge of my life. And that is how we can start to build those healthy habits without trying to do everything, feeling completely overwhelmed, then shutting down and just being like, it's not going to work for me. Does that make sense? Like, that has been such a big game changer for me. And sometimes the reasons our habits are failing is because we're making those goals too big. So this is where breaking it down into actionable steps. So there is a big difference between having a strain goal. So imagine you're living a completely sedentary lifestyle right now, and you're like, right, I'm going to run a marathon in April. Well, whereas you could set a goal that, right, I'm going to run a 5K or a 10K, and then you can get the Couch 10K app on your phone. You can start that. You can train for that over the next 3 months. That's a stretch goal for you, going from completely nothing to that. But to then say, I'm going to run a marathon. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, you could do that. Like, people can do those type of big goals if they put their mind to it. But again, it's thinking about the type of person that you are. Is that going to motivate you, or is that going to make you go, ooh, like, that's too much for me? So this is where it's just not a one size fits all for people. So think about that goal, and that, have you broken it down into those actionable steps? Now I'm just going to jump into some of the top hacks that really help me in my life and help me to have that fulfilled and holistic, healthy lifestyle. And that doesn't mean that things don't go wrong, or that I don't ever, have a bad day or feel tired. But generally speaking, I feel like I live a very happy and fulfilled life. And that's because I put a priority on these things. So the first thing that I am a huge, guru, passionate advocate for, is looking after our gut health. Now, this is something that I'm so pleased to see is becoming so much more mainstream and talked about in magazines and the press. And, there's so many TV programs about it now, which is fantastic. And it's been something I've been banging on for about 10 years now. And that is our gut health, because our gut, which is also known as our second brain, really is at the epicenter of our body. It's where our serotonin, our dopamine, serotonin is your happy hormone, dopamine is like your motivation hormone. Like, it's where your moods, where your sleep, where your immunity, like everything is contained and produced and generated in the gut. It's like I was doing this talk for some kids in school recently, and I was saying, like, it's like the command center for the body. And, we have thousands and millions and trillions of these microbes that are all living, in our gut, good and bad bacteria, but they're living in balance. This is the only time I'm happy about balance, by the way. But then what can happen is, with life and with our lifestyles and stress, the bad can start to overwhelm the good. And that's when our gut becomes compromised, the microbiome becomes compromised. And, while in the short term, it can lead to things like maybe outbreaks in the skin, skin conditions, bloating, like lethargy, like feeling tired all the time. But it can also, in the long term, really lead to quite significant illnesses and development of autoimmune conditions, things like chronic fatigue syndrome, or even worse, things like the big C, or type 2 diabetes, all these kind of things. It's like, but keeping your gut health strong. So how do you do that? So it is, looking after your stress. Stress care is really, really important. Managing your sleep, taking your multivitamins, your supplementation, making sure that you are fueling your body in the right way to support it. I take a daily gut health pre and probiotic to support me. It's also about the types of foods that you're eating that are actually nourishing your guts. Like, I do a gut health reset 2-3 times a year, just to keep myself on an even keel and make sure that I am fueling my body in the right way and maximizing the energy that I can get from maintaining good gut health. So I do have podcasts and blogs and resources on gut health. I even have a free download, a guide that you can get, which I know Nicola's going to post, which is 5 ways to boost your energy as a busy mom. So even if you're not a mom, this will help. But it really goes into more detail about gut health and why that's so important. So that is a huge one, and a huge thing that I factor in my lifestyle is managing my gut health, which in turn balances all the health within my body. The second thing is I have a weekly, what I call CEO date with myself. Now, I actually, again, this is another sort of free download I've created, because this is something I've been doing for years, and something that I sort of almost did on autopilot. And then when I was teaching in my Thriving Moms program, some of my students, like, how I do this, they were like, this has been such a game changer. And I thought, Joel, I don't just want to make this for paying clients. I want more busy moms to know about this. So I've created a free sheet on how to do this. And essentially it's a 4-part system, and I do it on a weekly basis. It takes me 15 minutes. I reflect back on the week. I celebrate, the things I have achieved. I brain dump for the following week, and then I schedule what's coming up. So that is for work, that is for personal life. And then I even do one of those meetings with my husband, just to make sure that we're on the same page and who's doing what and how it's all working. And I've even gone so far, because I have my mum living with me now. I have a planner on the fridge that I just plot out everything, so people know, so then I'm not having to constantly update and say, oh, what's today? Oh, it's book day, PE day, whatever, whatever it is for school day. So that PWR, my personal weekly review system that I do, and I do it at a scheduled time as a date with myself every week. I do it on a Friday. But you can pick a day anytime. But honestly, when you start to get into the habit of having that meeting with yourself, treating it like you would any other appointments, and really getting intentional, right? What's coming up? What do I need to delegate? What do I need to defer? What's urgent? What's a priority? Like, this is how, when people say to me, how do you do all the things that you do? Well, it's in terms of being organized. And just to share with you, like, very personally, I also have ADHD. So for me, like, typically people with ADHD aren't organized and don't have focus and, you know, can get very distracted. And so that is one of the reasons I am so intentional and organized with my time and making sure that I've done that weekly planning system. So again, my weekly PWR is something that I would highly recommend to busy people, whether or not you're a mum, just to really gain control over, you know, when am I exercising? When am I grocery shopping? What am I doing? You know, and just really have that, rather than like, I don't know how people do it, like going day to day. And don't get me wrong, like I have an overarching plan and then things may shift in the week, and that's fine. And I adjust accordingly, but overarchingly it's having that full week view of what's going on and how that all works is really just been such a game changer for me. Two last things I want to share with you. The third thing that I do as well, as you know, and I tag it onto my PWR, is my meal planning. So I know this isn't sexy. I know this isn't very exciting. And I know a lot of people nowadays use meal planning services and they have ingredients. And some people even tell me that cooking relaxes them. I'm actually one of those people. It does relax me. But you might be like, oh my goodness, it's the biggest headache of my adulting life trying to figure out what to make for dinner every single night. Whereas actually, if you take that time to sit down and meal plan, now it doesn't mean that everything's perfect for the whole week. Like I actually do it every I have an overarching plan for the week, but I shop twice a week. So I get a delivery on a Monday and then I do a top-up shop while my daughter's in her gymnastics on a Thursday because it's right around the corner from Sainsbury's. So that's like the little, okay, we're running low on this, I need to grab that. But I have my weekly delivery slot. I have a delivery saver, you know, pass with Tesco. So I know I've got my weekly delivery. I know when it's coming, I can plan, and it just keeps my life ticking over. It stops the, what are we eating, grabbing crap food, and just being really organized. So again, that's another resource that Nicola can share with you. And that is my meal planner. It's a free meal planner. And I've got different templates for different types of people or mums who plan in different ways. Maybe it's that you only want to plan your evening meals. Maybe it's you want to go the full hog. Maybe it's just lunch and dinner. So there's different templates that you can print out there. But honestly, that is such an amazing habit that has really helped me to thrive in my busy mum life. Right, the final tip, and again, this might be something that you're already practicing, but is good sleep hygiene. Now, this, as somebody who has always been a bit of a night owl, I'm recording this at nighttime, as somebody who is not a morning person, and that is a lot to do with my ADHD in fairness, but it is, you know, once I'm asleep, great, but getting to sleep for me, like actually the process of tearing myself away from the Netflix, going upstairs, you know, doing my routine, getting into bed, I have to read a book to wind my brain down, going to sleep, like that process can take me a good hour. But how many times did I, you know, in the past would I make the mistake of saying, right, I'm going to get myself 7 hours sleep or 8 hours sleep, and then go up at the time that I should have been sleeping already. And then I'm tired, and then I'm craving the next day, and I'm grumpy, and I'm shouting, and I'm eating all the carbs because my hormones are out of balance. Like that's why you crave bad food when you're tired, because your hormones are like, whoa, and your cortisol levels are firing. So, you know, if you are somebody who's looking to lose weight, sleep it off. Like more sleep you get, the easier it will be for your body to shed excess weight, because when your body is in a state of stress and your cortisol is pumping through it and you're not getting enough sleep, like the body can't heal itself. It can't repair itself. It can't reset. It can't store memories. It can't store information properly. It can't regulate your hormones. It just sets off such a huge chain reaction in your body being at a sleep deficit, which we all are in the society, unfortunately, because now, with the invention of light, you know, if you think about our ancestors, they would be asleep when the sun went down. They would come in for the night. They might have a little fireplace, but again, that's ambient light. But nowadays we're like in front of bright blue light, and it's created an absolute crazy hazard for our brains. So something that I've done, which is a really easy fix, and you can get them really cheap as chips off Amazon, is I've got myself a pair of blue light glasses. So when I'm in front of screens in the evening, I wear these blue light glasses to block that blue light from the screens, because that blue light actually stops the release of the melatonin hormone into your body, which is like, hello, I'm sleepy, I want to go to bed now. You're watching Netflix, your brain is like, oh, next episode, next minute is two in the morning, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna get up in 4 hours, how am I going to do this? So that is something. So if you're going to watch the Netflix, no problem, just stick on your blue light glasses so you can block that blue light. So yeah, that has been another game changer for me in terms of my overall health and as a healthy habit that has really supported my busy lifestyle. So, I mean, I could go on and on and on sharing healthy habits with you, but I'm going to stop there because I have shared a lot of information with you. And I really want you to take on board what we've covered today, which is that you don't need a new you this new year. You just maybe need 2 to 3 healthier habits. And do your wheel of life. Think about those areas of your life, your sleep, your finances, your career, your family, your health, your personal life. How fulfilled do you feel on a scale of 1 to 10 in those areas, where you can then identify, right, this is what I need to work on, and then picking those 2 to 3 action points rather than, oh, I'm going to be healthy. Well, what does that mean? Break that down into 2 to 3 achievable actions and goals, and make sure that it's giving you a bit of stretch, but it's not straining you. Otherwise, it just is it's too much for your brain. And then we talked about my weekly planning system date with yourself, gut health. We spoke about meal planning, and we spoke about sleep. So I've got resources, guides, downloads for all these things that I've covered tonight, because I didn't want to just like say, oh, do these things, and you're like, well, I need the tools. The tools are all there. They're all on my website, wendygriffith.co.uk. And please do connect with me on Instagram. I'm on TikTok as Thriving Mum UK, but I'm on Instagram as Wendy Griffith _Thriving Mum. I'm on Facebook. We also have the Healthy and Thriving Facebook Career Moms Facebook community, which is a free community. I have my podcast, the Healthy and Thriving Career Moms podcast. I've done 3 seasons last year of that podcast. So there's like about 40 episodes there for you to go and binge and listen to, with all my resources for you. So yeah, and reach out to me, let me know, drop into my DM, send me an email, wendy@wendygriffith.co.uk, and let me know what has resonated with you from today's masterclass. And if you have any questions about anything that I've talked about today. And I really just want to take this opportunity to wish you a healthy and thriving new year, because you absolutely deserve it. You deserve to thrive. And I just know that you are going to, because you're amazing. So yeah, thank you for having me so much, everybody. And to Nicola for inviting me to speak to this amazing community. Mwah! Happy New Year, and here's to a thriving 2023.